All right. I mean, this has kind of turned into the Xbox is in trouble YouTube channel the last few weeks, but it's only because, well, Xbox does seem to kind of be in trouble. I want to start off with a GeekWire article written by Todd Bishop, where he says Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said on Xbox, "We have to turn this into a sustainable business." Microsoft has spent years subsidizing Xbox rather than profiting from it. CEO Satya Nadella acknowledged this week as he addressed the gaming division's need for a new approach. His comments came during a Wednesday evening taping of the New York Times Hard Fork podcast released Friday. Host Kevin Roos and Casey Newton pressed Nadella on the future of Xbox a few hours after the division's leadership signaled an upcoming reset. Quote, "No one can accuse Microsoft of not having invested for the last 25 years," Nadella said of the Xbox and games business. "And now we have to turn this into a sustainable business. For all entertainment value Xbox provides," he said, "Microsoft hasn't been monetizing that entertainment and has actually been subsidizing it." He added with a chuckle, "In fact, there's more monetization of Xbox games happening on YouTube than on Microsoft." Earlier in the day, CEO Arsha Sharma had told employees in a memo that the division's heavy spending and declining revenue cannot continue. Sharma, about 100 days into the job, said Xbox will finish the fiscal year at roughly a 3% margin by an internal Microsoft measure, after the company spent more than $20 billion over the past 5 years, even as annual revenue fell. Bloomberg News reported that the division is planning major job cuts next month. On a podcast, Nadella described two pressures on the business. One is temporary, a run-up in price, driven by the shortage of semiconductors and memory, which is squeezing PCs, phones, and other consumer electronics, and which he said Microsoft will get through. The other is lasting, the question of what Xbox's business model should be going forward. Quote, "I think we have to find ways to deliver the games in which it's economically relevant for the consumer and for us," Nadella said when Newton asked whether he could offer any sort of carrot for gamers or whether gamers and games would simply get more expensive. Nadella didn't detail what the new model would look like. Sharma said in her memo that she'll spend the next 100 days taking what she called a fresh look at the business. The information reported Friday that Microsoft hasn't rolled out restructuring Xbox, potentially as a wholly owned subsidiary, a joint venture, or a spin-off, though it has no imminent plans to do so. The outlet, citing three people with direct knowledge, said Sharma plans to pair layoffs with heavier investment in franchises like Halo, Fallout, and a plan and CFO Nadella and Amy Hood have signed off on. See above for the full conversation. Yeah, so that talks a little bit about that. And I think, well, Halo, Fallout, Elder Scrolls is a great start for what they're going to do. The fact that the new Gears of War that they're making, which looks really, really good, reportedly has a budget of $400 million. Let's head over to Wolf's Gaming blog, where Baden Ronnie writes, Gears of War E-Day reportedly has a staggering budget of $400 million. Video game development budgets are becoming increasingly vast, as we already know, and now we have some information showing just how big those budgets are getting in the form of Gears of War E-Day. According to Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming on the latest episode of the Insider Gaming podcast, he's heard that Gears of War E-Day's development budget is upwards of $400 million. Now, there are some caveats to this report. It's unclear if that development budget contains such things as marketing, bonuses for staff, or the studio, or anything else. Regardless, that's an incredible amount of money to throw at the next Gears of War game, which is reported to have a 14-hour campaign. And that means that the game will have to sell millions upon millions of copies to even break even. In fact, some very quick and dirty math suggests that roughly 5.7 million copies would have to be sold at $70 just to break even, which is a huge ask when Game Pass is available. Of course, the existence of Game Pass also means Microsoft uses varying metrics to measure success that we're not privy to. That level of sales is a big ask for a franchise that isn't as relevant as it once was, which pains me to say because I'm a huge Gears fan. It's even going to be bigger ask now that it's not coming to the PS5 anymore. Totally agree with Baden there. I think that While I love Gears of War, this budget makes me nervous for the future. This has to be a huge success. This has to be something that not only the current people who own Xboxes get into, but something that makes people be like, okay, I need to buy an Xbox. But this isn't where the bad news ends, as just today, let's head over to Outrun Gaming and Stephanie Valentine's article. It says Xbox Game Studios leaders step down amid brand reset. Xbox Game Studios leader Craig Duncan will reportedly depart the company this week after 18 months, according to a new report from the game business. The brand's recently appointed chief of staff, Lewis O'Connor, will also leave the company after serving less than a year in the role. The departures follow a joint public memo from CEO Arsha Sharma and CCO Matt Booty released in June, suggesting looming layoffs and sweeping brand reset. All teams previously working under Duncan, Halo Studios, In Exile Entertainment, Compulsion Games, Turn 10 Studios, The Coalition, Playground Games, Rare Obsidian, Ninja Theory, Double Fine, and more will report to Booty until the brand names a replacement. But when I stepped into the role of leading XGS 20 months ago, my purpose was to serve our studios, our teams, and the people making our games. Duncan shared in a staffed email. Together, we set out to deliver high-quality games, strengthen the cultural fabric across our studios, and help shape the future of the business. I'm proud to say that we delivered many flawless launches that drove business success for the company. Luis has been a thoughtful, creative, and trusted partner who has consistently championed the craft and supported our studios with clarity and care. I'm grateful for everything she's brought to XGS, and I'm sure she'll be successful in whatever comes next for her. Duncan has worked in gaming for decades before taking on the leadership role in late 2024. He spent nearly 14 years with Xbox subsidiary Rare Limited. Prior to his work at Rare, Duncan held roles at Midway, Sumo Digital, and Codemasters. Lewis O'Connor, also a Rare vet, spent more than 25 years with the brand before accepting the leadership position at Xbox. O'Connor left Rare following the cancellation of Everwild, a project she previously oversaw. Xbox is expected to begin cuts following the company's fiscal year end on June 30th. These aren't the first cuts for the brand in recent years. This time last year, parent company Microsoft shut down several projects, closed the studio, and cut about 9,000 jobs company-wide. So, yeah, this is not great. This is, I don't know. On the one hand, I'm like, maybe this will be the reset that Xbox does need. But I think getting rid of people who are making the games is going to just lead to even longer development cycles. Maybe stuff will not even come out because, the teams aren't good enough because they're letting go of so many veterans. But this is just terrible, terrible news. Does not make me confident for the future of Xbox as a brand. I mean, we'll see. Like I said, maybe this will work out. Maybe this is the pain that's needed for growth. And this time next year or in a couple years from now, we'll look back and be like, this was a painful decision, but ultimately the right decision. But never like to see people getting laid off. What are your thoughts on all of this? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and you're watching on Wicked Everything, please subscribe. If you're watching on Those Fake Nerds, also please subscribe. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers over there. Check out our sports channel, Wicked Sports, where we cover sports news, and our podcasting channel, Better Radio. Again, I really do appreciate you taking the time to check this one out, and I'll see you in the next one.